All right, guys, here we are back on the 84 300 CD, and today I am going to remove the dash. So there is our old stock, perfect no crack dash over there. And we're going to go ahead and get this one out. First thing I do is stick a little pry tool under here, and we want to get this Mercedes emblem out of here. And we want to remove the steering wheel. You can see it right down in there. Clearly this steering wheel has never been off. But we remove the steering wheel, pop out the gauge cluster, then remove the kick panels where the knees are, and remove the emergency brake release, the light switch, and disconnect the tubes, AC tubes from the back of the vents. And that's really about it. There's a couple of screws on both sides of the dash. There's like one here and one over there we'll take off. And I think then there's two screws behind this center panel here. So we're also taking all the wood off and sending that out to be refinished. All right, to get this steering wheel off of here, I use my giant impact, the Earthquake XT. This is the Harbor Freight Special. You only need it every once in a while, but 1,700 foot-pounds of torque. These work great. Probably not, since it's Harbor Freight, probably not good for everyday use, but, you know, 3-4 times a year, these really come in handy. And there we go. We got that bolt out. Right out of here. There we go. Now this gives us room to get the dash out. Also makes it easier to get the gauge cluster out. All right, now that we got the steering wheel out, I'm going to go ahead and start removing the wood trim pieces. I'm going to go ahead and start by popping out the window switches so I can get access on the other side. Get a little easier. There we go. We're going to transfer all these to the refinished wood pieces, so might as well go ahead and take them out now. There we go. We're going to refinish this because you see all the cracking and delamination, so we're going to get all brand new wood is going to go in here. All right, let's see if we can get this radio out of here. Got that out of here. And good, we have all our original wiring in here, so I'll be able to unclip this aftermarket harness and then reattach all of our original wiring. Now I want to get this panel off here, so we're just going to take our climate control out of here. Now I just want to put the screws back so I don't lose those. There we go. Okay, dome light, antenna, sunroof, defrost. There we go. Now we can get this panel off of here. There we go. See, little clips on the back will hold that in there. Now, what I'm trying to get access to, you can't see it. There's a Phillips right here and a Phillips right there. Those need to be removed in order to remove the dash. I'm going to take those out and I'm just going to put them in my ashtray. Okay, now I'm going to start removing the panels. So we'll take off our little cover pieces. And we'll take these out and we'll just put them in the ashtray. And we have one plastic one down here. And this will come out. We got that plastic one there. I know you guys can't see this, but I'm just removing the plastic screw. There's one on both sides. And then that comes out. Now I'll go ahead and do the same thing over here. All right, got this panel out of here. Now this appears to be the Bluetooth from the old radio, so we're going to remove that because we have Bluetooth automatically built into the original radios that were the original radio that was restored for this car. So we'll take this Bluetooth cable out of here. Headlight knob. All right, now I'm going to remove the chain that connects to this right there, brake release. So there's a 10 millimeter nut under here and a 10 millimeter nut over there we need to get out. And there's one right there. All right, there's a nut and a washer, a thick washer. Set that there. And here is it's like a pan head bolt that nut and washer go on. So we'll put those back together. And this is, I think that's a 24 millimeter. There's a nut you have to remove here. There we go. Just set that right there. And that allows to pull out the headlight switch. There we go. And we're just going to hang that out of the bottom right there. Now there's another 10 millimeter nut right here. All right, that's a little 10 millimeter. And there's another 10 millimeter right behind here. There we go. Got that out of there. Put our washer and our nut back on here so we don't lose it. Now I want to remove the glove box lining so I can pull the AC, like the vent hose off the back of the vents. So to do that, let's get under here, pop these out. Now that the glove box is out, we can disconnect. Here's our speaker cable right here. We'll disconnect that. And this is the hose that connects to the back of the AC vent. We want to pull that out so that's no longer connected. Also, we have our temperature sensor tube right here, and that comes along and it connects right down here. So we're going to pull that tube off. There we go. There we go. We just connect that tube off. And also our speaker wire right here. The speaker wire goes through here with zip ties. So we need to get that speaker wire through those zip ties. And here it is right here. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect that. Okay, you can see our speaker wire is disconnected. And now we have our switch right here. So we want to unplug the wires from the back of the switch. So you can see it looks like probably a ground there and a power here. But that'll disconnect here. And we're going to transfer this switch to the new dash. There we go. Take that off of there. And we'll take this one off of here. And we're going to go ahead and put this one, so we don't lose it, in the glove box, because that goes with the light. Now, way back in there, you guys aren't going to be able to see it. There's the center vent pod. That's what always fails. So we're going to make sure we change that stuff when we get the dash out. But what we want to disconnect now is our temperature sensor. And I have to get my hand back up in here. All right, what we're going to do now is remove the speaker covers so I can get access to, there's a bolt in the back. I think it's an 8 or 10 millimeter. And I have this little right angle wrench that works great for this. And these can twist out like that. And there is the screw right there. So I think that is an 8 millimeter. So we'll go ahead and get that out. We also need to do it on the other side. All right, you guys can barely see the edge of the screw, but it is right there. Got my extension. And there we go. We got that out. Like that, and then we turn it out of there. And put the screw back in here so we don't lose it. Then we can get access to the small screw up in here. Okay, now we need to get the gauge cluster out, and I can do that from just reaching up behind here because I have the kick panels out. And I can just push it forward. There we go. And before I do that much more, there we go. So now before we can fully remove that, there's a clip under the hood that clips the speedometer cable to a little bracket. I need to remove that clip so we have some slack to get that gauge cluster out of there. Okay, you guys can barely see down in there, but there's my speedometer cable, and there's a clip right down in there. I've already gotten it loose. There we go. Now we can start to remove the gauge cluster. I can reach back here and start unplugging. There we go. All right. Now we can take out our gauge cluster. Once we have that out, behind it we see this switch. And I think that's like a security or tamper device. I'm not sure what that is, but there's 2 power leads on the back of it. And we just need to disconnect those. There we go, right like that. And that's going to come out with the dash. We'll transfer that switch over to the new dash. So now I have everything disconnected. And I do need to disconnect this speaker. And then there's one AC vent. There's one AC hose right there. And now this dash is loose and can come out. All right, guys, everything is disconnected on the dash. So now what I'm going to do is roll the dash forward and take it out through the passenger side. Now, when you're doing this, basically there's a lip on the front of the dash that goes underneath the windshield gasket. So if you grab in the AC vents and kind of right here, you can, there we go, we pulled it out of that lip. And then we kind of got to just roll it over. All right, so let's go on out. Okay. You got it?
I got the whole thing.
All right, now we get to see what's going on behind here, and we get to go ahead and inspect everything, make sure all the climate control valves and pods are working, and that's how you get a dash out. All right, here is our old stock dash that's going to go in the car, and here's the one that we just pulled out of the car. So right now I'm just going through the process of removing all the bits off here, and we're going to use a new insulation that I have over there, but there's a lot of bits on here that we can take off. For example, here is the beauty ring that goes around the ignition switch. There we go. We'll save that. I've already removed, here we go, one of the vents. This was the vent pod over on this side. And here's one of the center vent pods. I'll put the beauty ring there. And so I'm just going to go through and just start removing all the pieces we need to transfer over. And then I'm going to start recording again when we start the reassembly on the new dash with transferring all these bits over and putting all the new wood, refinished wood, onto the new dash. So the original insulation I pulled out, I'll show you that. This was dry rotted and cracked and all coming apart in really bad shape. So I'm going to throw that insulation away. here we have an old stock insulation. And if we turn this over, you guys can see, not cracked, not dry rotted, excellent condition. So we're going to go ahead and put that in behind the dash and then start reassembly. All right, guys, what I'm doing now is snapping on the vents. Now, I have a bunch of old stock vents. You want to make sure all of your tabs are in good shape and not broken, because when these are broken off, they will not snap on correctly. And around these little, let me see if I can show you. Okay, so here's the bezel. This goes in from the front side of the dash, and you can see there's these little tabs that stick out like that. So now those tabs, you line up and you press in, and see how it snaps in. And you want to snap it all the way around. And then to remove it, you turn it and pull it off. And see, these little tabs have beveled edges, so you can turn it to remove it. But you just snap them down over that and then turn to release. You want to make sure all of those are in good condition. Every one of these and every one of these. They're often broken on cars. That's why I have a whole stash of these parts just in case. There were a couple that were broken on this one, so I grabbed some of my stash. So let's go ahead and snap this on here now. Just line up. Here we go. Did you hear it snap? Perfect. Now also the center vents have a different diameter on the back than the side vents. So you can't put center vents on side vents. There we go. Did you hear it snap in place? All these vents are fully intact. So that's, in essence, I have restored the actual vents. You can see right here, this is fully intact. And I had to replace the two side ones. I had to replace two of these because some of the tabs were broken, and I had to replace two of the vents. But now those are fully restored, 100% correct. So what we want to do here, I think at this point, we can put our insulation onto the back. Oh, sorry. What I've also done is right here. See those little tabs right there? That is the beauty ring around our ignition switch, our ignition cylinder. So those just actually bend back. And there we go. That's what holds that on there. That's in place. All right, so let's flip this over. Let's put the insulation on, and then we want to put our ducts. These are, see, this one goes right here. These are the air ducts. And this one I can see, this is the one that came out of the car. See, it's got a little cracked piece right there. So I'm not going to use, let me look at this one. Actually, this side is fully intact. But I have another set. All right. Let's see. So this one will go here. And yeah, see, these have no cracks along the top. These are fully intact. So let me show you how these go in here. All right, what you can see here, see these little metal tabs? And then two down here. What you do, you slide the vent over the metal tabs. And you got to get it also through the dash. There we go. There we go. And now we fold those metal tabs over. And I usually accomplish that with a screwdriver. There we go. Yep, that's how Mercedes did it, guys. Now we're working on that side. There we go. Let's see what that looks like. All right, there we go. See our dash vents. Defroster vents are all in here. Looks very nice. All right, put this back down. Now we want to put our insulation over here. And that's how you do it, guys. Now we have fresh insulation. That's basically sound insulation is attached. This is for the center vent. This little rubber boot goes around here and it directs the airflow. There we go. And we also want to attach the tube that runs from the temperature sensor across down to the HVAC system. So let me go ahead and get that tube. It's laying in the car. All right, I can see someone was in there before because they put this piece on here when normally this is a foam tube. And let me show you how that works. Runs from the back of the temperature sensor. There we go. Let's take this out here. And I can see, so it goes like that, right? And actually fits in the car like this. But somebody's been in here, they replaced this piece with a clear tube. And that's because from the factory, this piece is a piece of foam, like pipe insulation. And so I have this, it's like 2.5 inch diameter pipe insulation. And that's the correct way it's supposed to be. So we'll get this piece out of here and reattach this to our temperature sensor. Let me get this out of here and just reattach that first. There we go. Now this piece also slides through a zip tie that is right here, and that's in the dash. There you go, goes about like that. And then the pipe insulation goes on here and right there. There we go. That's the way that's supposed to work. And then the zip tie holds it there. You can see these zip ties right here are actually for our speaker wire. All right, speaking of speakers, let's go ahead and put our speakers back in. And remember, these are just the clip-in speakers. All right, now we can flip this dash over. There we go. All right, guys. There you can see we have our beauty ring in there for the ignition. We have all our vents. They actuate nicely. They all open and close like they're supposed to. Insulation, we have everything back in, speakers, and the defroster vents. Now we're going to start reassembling. We have to put in the wood on the glove box, and then we'll put in the original lock so it matches the key in our car, and then put all the wood trim across the dash, and then we can put this thing back in the car fully refurbished.